This is Optimal Relationships Daily, episode 936, The Power of Teamwork, by Suzann Pileggi Pawelski of LiveHappy.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to ORD, the podcast where I narrate to you every weekday from blogs and books around the world that teach us a thing or two about relationships, how they thrive, what they're about, and how to make the most of our own. I am your host, Greg Audino, hoping you're all off on the right foot this week. Now, today we'll be checking out another post from LiveHappy.com, and this one's about teamwork specifically. Definitely an important facet of relationships that doesn't get as much research as marriages or parent-child relationships and the like. So, let's learn a little something new today and hear a really great story of triumph from our author, and do stick around for after this post for another Vibely update too. This time, one of your fellow listeners reflects on the biggest mistake she's made and what she's learned from it. But we're going to hop into this post first, right now, and start optimizing your life. The Power of Teamwork by Suzann Pileggi Pawelski of LiveHappy.com. As I muscled my way across the long stretch of monkey bars, my arms grew tired. With each subsequent bar I gripped, I couldn't imagine how I would muster the strength to continue. 20 minutes earlier, my friend Michelle and I were stretching and trying to stay warm as we anxiously awaited our 3 p.m. start time. With the wind blowing and our adrenaline pumping, we nervously talked about what laid ahead. We were about to compete in our first Spartan race, an intense challenge that combines a 3+ mile run with 21 boot camp style obstacles. For the past 12 weeks, we had trained together and were now racing as part of the 60-person Relentless Fitness team, comprised in part of members of our gym, Relentless Fitness. We were doing the Spartan race in part to raise money for Steve's Club, a national nonprofit that helps keep at-risk kids off the streets by inviting them into the gym to exercise after school. And so part of our team was made up of a group of teenagers from Steve's Club. Running along with the teens, knowing that we were helping to raise money for them and their friends, gave added meaning to our endeavor, while competing alongside them literally kept us on our toes because they were so fast. Spartan strong or seriously crazy? Are we crazy? We asked ourselves as our minds and muscles tensed as we tried to help each other relax and prepare for the race. And then it started, and we had no choice. We were off and running. One of the first obstacles we encountered was the monkey bars. Eyeing the unusually thick bars and then my small hands, I couldn't fathom how I'd grip just one bar, let alone navigate across at least a dozen of them. But anyone who competes in the Spartan has to do a personal penance of 30 burpees for each obstacle they don't complete. Michelle and I briefly considered caving in, but instead we encouraged each other to forge ahead. At the same time, we watched in awe as our fellow teammate Tony successfully maneuvered the bars. I was inspired to give it a try. My arms ached. I struggled and wanted to stop, but I continued moving as I heard Tony and Michelle exuberantly shout, "Go, Susie!" I also thought of my husband James and 5-year-old son Liam, who I knew were somewhere on the sidelines. The thought of them also encouraged me to keep on going. Suddenly, I felt myself energetically and adeptly, almost effortlessly, swinging like a monkey. Before I knew it, and to my utter amazement, I reached the other side without falling. Strength in numbers, the test of teamwork. Michelle and I had decided earlier that rather than compete as individuals, we would run together throughout the race. We, along with Roger, the co-owner of Relentless Fitness, our fearless trainer, Ross, and his strong and willowy wife, Amy, used our unique physical and emotional strengths throughout the obstacle course to help one another with the variety of challenges. Whether it was giving someone a boost to scale a 6-foot wall, sharing one's technique on how to successfully pull a 75-pound weighted sandbag, thank you, Michelle, or giving an emotional lift with a word of encouragement, we were there for one another. Psychologists might say that what we were experiencing was the strength of teamwork, defined as representing a feeling of identification with and sense of obligation to a common good that includes the self, but that stretches beyond one's own self-interest. Teamwork was definitely at play on this special day for me. In their book, Character Strengths and Virtues, psychologists Christopher Peterson and Martin Seligman say that an individual with this strength has a strong sense of duty, works for the good of the group rather than for personal gain, is loyal to friends, and can be trusted to pull his or her weight. He or she is a good teammate. I saw this tenet of positive psychology played out again and again at the Spartan race. I think Michelle, myself, and the others definitely acted as good teammates. As for pulling our weight, we certainly did that, those 75-pound sandbags. Collaborators, not competitors. When Michelle and I fulfilled our promise to one another and crossed the finish line together, I felt a greater sense of joy than I would have had I competed solo. And remarkably, rather than being depleted, I was somehow energized and even did a celebratory cartwheel. To top it off, I found James and Liam standing at the finish line, cheering me on and sharing in my happiness. Competing in and finishing the Spartan race was a challenging yet truly rewarding experience. The fact that I was able to do it together with a group of supportive teammates while being cheered on by my loved ones certainly enhanced my sense of achievement and overall fulfillment, almost like compounded interest in the form of added meaning and happiness. You just listened to the post titled, "The Power of Teamwork" by Suzann Pileggi Pawelski of LiveHappy.com. And a wonderful piece from Suzann today, whose full name I tried to hit with proper Italian and Polish pronunciation respectively. Hopefully that came out right. These types of virtuous wins alongside others, they may seem most fitted for competitions like the Spartan race or other sports, but it's essential to realize that this working for the good of the group is a great way to motivate ourselves and support others no matter what we might be engaging in. Use teamwork to your advantage and the advantage of others in smaller things. If you're working from home, get a friend who's doing the same thing and work at the library together. If you have a weight loss goal, find someone with the same goal or a similar one and hold each other accountable for taking steps in the right direction each day. Anything you want to get done is easier done with someone else. And if you're the only one in your circle with goals, then you need a new circle. And now, guys, it is time for another feature from our online group, Vibely. For those who are unaware, Vibely is our online platform, which provides listeners like yourself a chance to optimize the lives of each other, if you will, and share pieces of advice or recommendations based on the prompts that we provide. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend you guys join via the link in this episode's description if you haven't already. It's a great place to teach, it's a great place to learn, and interact with other listeners and us hosts in group chats. And all of those chats revolve around the different topics that we cover on our shows in the network. And one of our most recent prompts was a really powerful one. It asked listeners to share the biggest mistake that they've made and what they've learned from it. And a great entry towards the end of it came from listener Jai Spoon, and she says, quote, "Not trusting myself to make my own decisions and taking responsibility for my own life and happiness. Thankfully, I am still young, but I have noticed how easily influenced I can be by my parents and people I see on the internet and social media. I have noticed since I have been trying to take charge of my own life, I am happier and better than I have ever been, which was different when other people tried to run it for me and offer helpful suggestions." End quote. Greg here again. Thanks so much to Jai for sharing and also providing some really great words about responsibility. Surely something we always have the opportunity to take and should do so, even for things that we might not have directly caused. It's a great way of staying in power, making your life your own, and really preventing yourself from feelings of fragility or that you're owed something. Great entry, great lesson. So thanks a lot to Jai, and thanks a lot to Suzann for a great read today. And congratulations to her and her team for toughing out the Spartan race and still having enough energy for a cartwheel at the end somehow. Very impressive. We are done for now, but we'll be back with more content tomorrow and throughout the week. So come on back and continue teaming up with others who want to better their relationships right here on ORD, where your optimal life awaits.